Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd, and happy Friday. Joining you a little later than normal because the Day 2 severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center is released at 12:30. So I figured, why do a live stream at noon when we're going to get an update from that at 12:30? And there is a little bit of a change in that forecast. The overall outlook hasn't changed all that much. First things first. And I say first things first, but it is probably the most important part of this live stream. The Digital Weather Desk app, which is made possible by James Spivey, the bankruptcy attorney, is now live on Apple users and Apple devices. I know Android users are probably bummed to hear that. I, myself, am an Android user. We should expect it to go live in the Android for Android users any day now. But it is now available and live for our Apple users. So if you have an iPhone, iPad, whatever, the app is now available. Just search Digital Weather Desk. You may have to scroll a little bit. And you could also, I believe, search Arclimus Weather. I think you could probably search my name, and it should pop up there. So download the app and customize your alerts and get ready for tomorrow's severe weather threat. There is an update, a couple of tweaks that will come along later today and into tonight. It won't require a new update or anything, or a re-download or anything like that, just a few tweaks as we get through the release. So, again, the Digital Weather Desk app is now available. Check out the visible satellite this afternoon. Not a whole lot happening, but we do have the clouds starting to sneak back in across East Texas, and that's also even resulted in some light shower activity across the Southeast Texas coastline. We're in the 80s, 85 in Monroe, 84 Shreveport, 83 in Little Rock, 86 in Jackson, and temperatures here locally generally in the low to mid-80s, 85 Monroe, 87 in Ruston, 85 in Jonesboro, 86 currently in Winfield. Dew points starting to climb, though. The low-level moisture starting to stream back in ahead of tomorrow's storm system, so they are higher than they've been for an extended period of time. And we expect those dew points to continue to climb ahead of tomorrow's system. Winds also swinging back around to the south and southeast. All of this to be expected ahead of a trough of low pressure and a cold front and things of that nature. Reminder of the drought monitor, and just to kind of a reminder of how desperately the rain is needed. We would prefer it in a slow soaking manner and more efficient rainfall, but we're going to take it however we can get it. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe shows the winds back out of the south, and you'll be greeted probably with some cloud cover to start the day tomorrow, but then sunshine eventually starts to win back over. Futurecast also shows the storm starting to develop from the northwest, but also perhaps a few scattered storms across our western counties and parishes by early to mid-afternoon, more likely in the late afternoon, early evening hours. And then activity spreads eastward as we work into the night, and by the early morning hours on Sunday, the last of the storms are exiting the Mississippi River Valley. Overall, it is, I don't want to call it a run-of-the-mill severe weather threat, because no severe weather threat is run-of-the-mill. But it is a pretty common overall setup for this front as it moves through. Pretty typical fall system, and they all bring their own severe weather hazards. Here's the updated look from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, your severe weather alerts made possible by Allegiance Health Network, and you can see the slight risk has been maintained. I usually don't typically spend a lot of time in breaking down the threat levels: wind, tornado, hail. I will make the exception today, because I think it kind of illustrates the best hazards. The wind threat for tomorrow. And the reason I don't show these is because folks don't genuinely understand the percentages. The percentages basically meaning that in the yellow area, you have a 15% chance of observing severe thunderstorm wind gusts within 25 miles of a point in that area. Does that make sense to you? It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around. It was hard for me to wrap my brain around when I was in meteorology school, but nonetheless, that's what it means. So as you look at the tornado threat, and it's that 5% tornado threat, obviously what you should really take away from this is the lower the threat, the better. The higher the threat, obviously, the more concerning and the the more that you need to pay attention and be weather aware. The tornado threat's up to a 5%, which is the brown area across north central Louisiana and southern Arkansas. And that's a general increase from where it was this morning, where most of our region was blanketed in that 2% category. 2% basically meaning that the tornado threat is low, but it's not zero. At 5%, generally meaning that an isolated tornado is a possibility, maybe even a couple. And then you start getting into the 10 to 15% probabilities, and that's when you start getting into an enhanced and moderate risk days or even high risk days with tornado threats. So, again, something that I don't commonly show, but if I start to show it more frequently, I at least want you to be somewhat accustomed to what you're seeing. Here's a look at the hail outlook for tomorrow. We're not even included in it. So, again, primary threats, damaging wind gusts. An isolated tornado usually can't be ruled out, especially with a complex of storms as it moves through, those brief tornadoes that can develop rather rapidly within the line, maybe even a discrete storm or two that could pose a tornado threat. But the hail threat, at least in our area, looks minimal. The rainfall forecast, as I mentioned, is kind of a broad brush forecast in terms of looking at the rain totals, but I think the Futurecast has kind of a better idea, or at least illustrates better, the potential for thunderstorm-driven rains within the area. If you bypass most of the more intense thunderstorms, you may see little to no rainfall. But where we do see the thunderstorms, a quick inch to inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches of rain, is not out of the realm of possibilities. And that leads to the excessive rain potential. And I know you're probably thinking, Jared, how in the world is there a flash flood risk? We haven't seen much rain. Well, again, it's all broken down by the fact that the ground is dry and kind of compacted, and when you get heavy rain, it doesn't efficiently soak into the soil as readily. So a lot of it just runs off, and when you get those intense heavy rain rates, that can create some ponding and some localized street flooding concerns in the short term. That's a look at the severe weather threat. Now, do you want some good news? Let's take a look at temperatures over the next week. And you can see the cold front as it arrives in the area Sunday morning. It will sweep through the region. By Sunday afternoon, we're probably in the 70s for highs most locations. Monday looks pretty pleasant. It does advertise upper 40s for Monday morning. I have us right at 50 degrees. So take that for what it is. And then a warm-up on Monday. But then we bring another cold front through on Tuesday afternoon. So we warm up a little bit, and then that front moves through, and that could also drop areas back into the 40s, at least for a potential for Wednesday morning of next week. And then we start to slowly modify and warm up after that. But again, as I've been kind of talking about for the last couple of days, this could be the storm system that brings an end to the 90s for the region. But we're not done with them today. Most of us will see upper 80s to low 90s for highs. Lows tonight back into the mid-60s, a few clouds, but overall mild. Winds will stay out of the south. And then high temperatures tomorrow back near 90 with the storms returning late. Most of us will probably see them late afternoon, evening, and the winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Look at the 7-day forecast. It again focuses on the severe weather threat for Saturday. Obviously, we've refreshed the rain chances a tad, and temperatures have been refreshed a tad. 70s to low 80s for highs much of next week, with morning lows generally in the 50s. Could see the upper 40s for a couple of mornings. So again, fall perhaps has finally arrived across the region, and I think most folks will be happy to hear that. If you did not catch the top end of this live stream, the Digital Weather Desk app is now available for download for Apple users. Just search Digital Weather Desk in your app store. You may have to scroll a little bit, but it's there. And Android users, it should be coming soon, maybe as early as Monday. But again, we're just kind of in that limbo, app store purgatory, whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of where we are right now. So again, Apple users, download the app now. Customize your alerts. You can turn off the ones that you don't want to get. You can turn on, make sure that the ones that you do want to get are on there and ready for tomorrow. And of course, you can get this forecast tied to your zip code or your location, customized to your phone. So there that is. All right, I will football forecast coming out in about 45 minutes or so. We'll have another look at the forecast this evening. We'll have a fishing game later tonight. Well, don't forget about it. There's a lot of moving pieces. The app going live today on Apple devices just threw another poker into the fire, if you will. Thanks so much for joining the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. You can always visit and check the latest forecast at digitalweatherdesk.com or download the Digital Weather Desk app.